Hello to you. Thank you for joining us in our new live series of talks with Dr. Michael Leitman. Hello to you. Hello everyone. Hello Tal Mendelbaum and Moshe. So this is show number 1263, and we will talk with Dr. Leitman about the profound changes happening in the world, in humanity. We're talking about the processes that are happening today, coming to a kind of pinnacle, apex point, and we're talking about female power, especially. Okay, so many teachings say that there's a female side and a male part in nature, and there are many women today interested in connecting to that female force of nature. People are talking about a universal kind of womb, and many women are interested in how to connect to that force that perhaps is within them. And also, they're talking about how the power of women is growing and becoming more influential, and that the future is going to be more feminine. So we want to know what to do with all this information, to talk about it. And we want to ask, with respect to the wisdom of Kabbalah, does it say that there is a side of nature which is female? Dr. Leitman, of course there is. How can there not be? From the smallest particle, yes, which by the way is female, the first particle, and around it masculine forces developing it. It's said that the man encircles the woman encircles the man, and so on. It's the same. And they're saying how one can be, you can't have one without the other. And the female part of nature is at the center of nature. And what encircles it, what builds it, is the male part. So if I understand correctly, there is a part of nature called the female part, which is the will to receive, and this is the central part. Yes. So how is it built? Because I imagined two equal sides. Here you're describing something different. So how is it built? Well, they can't be completely equal. It will be one thing. You have to have two things which are equal but different. So you have to see where they're equal and where different. Tal, what is the essence of the female part? Dr. Leitman, the essence of the female part is birth, giving birth. This is what makes a woman the central part of reality. Malchut, as we call it in the wisdom of Kabbalah. It is at the center of creation, and it gives birth. She gives birth, and she develops everything. And the man just is around her, helps her, puts a seed in her, but the development is dependent entirely on the woman. The woman is the earth, the force from which everything grows and develops and is born. So if we talk about Mother Nature, is nature feminine in essence? Dr. Leitman, yes, of course it's feminine. Man in nature is there only to assist the female part in its development and in giving birth. And there's an expression I saw where people talk about a cosmic universal womb or something. Dr. Leitman, well, that's a concept. It doesn't exist in any place in space. It's a concept. It's the force that begets new things from, well, the man sows the seed, and then the woman can develop this seed and bring it to actual fulfillment, and from that to fruition, and then men or women are born. Owen, is there female energy in nature? Dr. Leitman, of course. Dr. Lightman, it's like we see plus and minus in electricity, north and south fields, magnetic fields, and you have poles, meaning you have one thing opposite the other. You can't have one without the other. Oh, and so how do you define the masculine and the feminine forces of nature? Dr. Lightman, without relating to it as positive or negative, the part that pulls is called the feminine part, and the part that takes and the part that gives is called the masculine part. Oh, and so the part that draws and the part that gives, right? As a man, can I connect to the female energy of nature, or is it reserved for women? Dr. Lightman, by giving to her. Oh, and I don't understand. Dr. Lightman, energy, well, it's like two poles in a magnet, or plus and minus in electricity, where if you want to connect to these energies, then go ahead. From the side of the man, you need to be arrayed properly towards the female energy, and then Tal. So as a woman, does every woman have this part of the feminine structure? Dr. Lightman, yes, the womb. Tal. So we are representatives of this female force in humanity, but can a man connect to that force in a way? Dr. Lightman, the man connects to it by sowing the seed, no more. His seed enters the womb, and then an embryo develops, a baby. Oh, and you said before that the primal particle of nature is female. What does it mean? Dr. Lightman, it's the will to receive. It's wanting to receive something that's good for you, that's the female part of nature. Oh, and so you pulling, just drawing to oneself, that's the definition of a woman, pulling things towards herself, absorbing. Dr. Lightman, yes, that's why she receives the seed from the male. Owen, so why is that the primal particle, the part that draws, why does it create everything in nature? Dr. Lightman, because you don't need anything else. There was a force of creation in nature to begin with, but what was lacking was the force of reception. And so ultimately, what was created is the woman first. Owen, nice. Tal. So I heard that in each person there is a feminine part, a masculine part. Up to now we talked about how each one is a representative of his own side. Is there a combination as well? Dr. Lightman, of course there's always a combination, mix within men and women. So we have both forces in each one. Dr. Lightman, we have both forces in each cell in our body. With every thought, with every desire, in every biological cell, we always have a combination between these two forces. You cannot have one force existing without the other. But still, each one represents a side of nature and is dominant in a way. Dr. Lightman, yes, dominant, but nothing more. Oh, and so after analyzing these foundations of nature, I want to talk about what's happening in the world, just to look a bit more broadly at it. If I look as a man at our world, opposed to our world as it was many years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, we see a trend where the female force of nature is coming out of hiding and it's taking the front stage. Why? Why is it happening and where is it headed? Dr. Lightman, it's happening because the female part was always, let's say, pushed to the corner of history, of geography, of culture, of society. The woman had to be at home, not to run around, not to even receive education. She knows how to cook, she knows how to take care of the children, and she needs nothing more, right? She didn't even go outside the house. Oh, and today, Dr. Leitman. And today you see, you have prime ministers which are women. Oh, yes, that we see. Why is it happening? Where is it headed? Where is it leading us? Does it mean that the female energy, the female essence in nature that we previously discussed is now becoming more prominent, more dominant? Where does it want to lead us? We said it's a force of nature. Where does it want to carry us as people, as humanity? Dr. Leitman, it wants to carry us to a state where both are equal and are connected and are complementary above their own nature. Not because a man cannot be without a woman or vice versa, but rather because they want to bestow upon each other. It's not that I must have her and therefore I'm with her, or vice versa. This is the meaning of loving each other. We love exploiting each other. That's more correct. So we need to reach a state where this is not how we connect. This is not the reason for me being with the woman, but rather it's because I value her, I want to be around her, because by bestowing upon her, I come to my own spiritual fulfillment, spiritual purpose. Tal. Okay, so that's very interesting. I wanted to ask about not how women are more prominent today, but something in the female quality, as you described it, creativity, cooperation, being able to contain many things. These qualities are becoming more necessary. Can you say that humanity is advancing towards a more feminine direction in its essence? Dr. Leitman, humanity is taking on the form of a woman more and more, being shaped that way. And so the future is for women to take their place on the stage and act out the most important role. Dr. Leitman, Owen, what does it mean that humanity is taking on the form of a woman more? Dr. Leitman, it means that the importance of women in the society will climb much above what you had in previous generations. Owen, we understand that nature has its own plan. Things are happening we don't always understand, but yes, so why does humanity need to take on a more feminine form? Why? Is it supposed to give birth to something new? And what is that new thing? Dr. Leitman, yes, where they're both equal, men and women, where they complement each other. And then they will feel how, indeed, there is proper connection between them. Tal, in what do we become complementary equals? Dr. Leitman, in everything. No one belongs to another, no one owes anything to another. Rather, there is truly a clear understanding, perception for each one of them. They understand that only in this way where we complement each other do we become equal, and do we actually come to the proper form. Tal, if we look at our development, we see that women over the past decades are the ones who want to develop spirituality, to learn things. They're pushing humanity in that direction, and the women are more compatible with this new form of leadership. So is it pushing us to a more globalized, shared, collective world? Dr. Leitman, the fact that women started going out the house, they stopped just giving birth, and that's it. They went into political science and even government. That's created the kind of revolution which we didn't feel as a revolution, but in essence, it's the biggest revolution that ever was. And so it seems to me that now, with what we're going through with respect to the coronavirus crisis, it turns out that the role of the man, his intervention in management and governance and everything in human society is diminishing more and more. And the woman will replace him in many things, to the point where I'm certain that even today we can see in many cases how men prefer to sit at home and have the woman go out work. You have many roles in army staffed by women instead of men. It's the time that determines times. Tal, what's nature's purpose in this? Dr. Lightman, to bring men and women to equality in such a way where they complement each other so as to become spiritual. And other differences won't take any part. Women need to give birth and to take care of the baby, yes. But over time, soon, it will become so much. It won't be felt that there's a problem here for women with respect to them being completely attached, completely glued to the baby, being unable to do anything, while the man is free to do whatever he wants. No, it's the other way around. Their spirit changes, their attitude changes. Oh, and you talked about spiritual complementation and equality. What does it mean, spiritual complementation, between the male and female forces? Dr. Lightman, the will to receive, which is the nature of the woman, opposite the will to bestow, which is the nature of man. Dr. Oh, and I don't understand what will to receive means. Speak to me simply. Dr. Lightman, this gravity that is typical of a woman, this pulling force, opposite to the power of giving, which is more typical to men, these things need to equalize in such a way where they understand that they need to complement each other, to add to each other, to work in a mutual way. There's no great difference between men and women as we see today in our society. Whether it's a man or a woman, is it important, is it not? We see that these things are gradually disappearing. This is not what's important to me with respect to who I'm working with, if it's a man or a woman. I need what I need for my business, right? So we treat women more as partners in every respect. And so I think that in the future, we will reach a state where we don't have any difference in how we relate, who we work with. Equality will be such that, well, our lives will create equality. Oh, and will it improve our quality of life meaningfully? Dr. Lightman, this will enable us to build a more balanced society with a proper combinations, mutual responsibility, sharing. So we see that history brought us to a state of imbalance where men controlled more, and now people are saying that women need to step in to balance this picture. Dr. Lightman, yes, true. So it's clear how necessary it is. Now I want to ask, many women today want to connect to that feminine side, that female energy. How would you recommend for them to connect to the female essence in nature? Dr. Lightman, I think that what needs to be done is that we need to develop the power of the woman more and more, and in parallel also the force of the men, the male power, and to teach them how to complement each other. So if we tell the woman that there is a female power in nature, the power of birth, something very important, meaningful, So she doesn't need does she need to first connect to her spiritual female essence before connecting to the man? Or Dr. Lightman, look, I don't know. Let's let nature arrange this. It doesn't seem to me that we need to pressure here, to exert any pressure to rush. We see this is happening gradually, slowly. Not even slowly, actually. It's kind of quick. In a few dozen years, we saw 100 years ago women sitting at home entirely dependent on the man. And now we see that it's not that much like that anymore. All the rules of society changed. The woman can be much higher than the man, governing, managing, providing. She has a profession and so on. She's an expert in something. Look, I don't see that men develop like women. Of course, here we need to think about what's happening to the poor men, because the woman is serious. She has great powers of persistence that she received from nature in order to take care of the new generation, to educate them. Now she educates herself. Now she goes out and breaks through, goes forward, and the men need to watch out. I mean, of course, I'm speaking it's kind of jokingly, but yes, the power of the woman will grow more and more. And I don't think that, I actually think that women will replace men more and more in roles of management, etc. But there are a few things in which women still, they're not so capable of it in terms of their inner structure. She can't be like men with respect to science, for example, but these are things that they don't detract from women. Oh, and so you said previously that in the wisdom of Kabbalah, the female power of nature is called Malchut. Malchut from the word Malka, queen, or kingship. So there is a concept of control, being the ruler, in that being the queen, the kingdom. Why is it so? Why does the female power rule? Dr. Lightman, that's how it is in every family. The woman is in charge, not the men. There's this representative representation, where the man is like the man of the household. He's called the husband, right? But in Hebrew, it's the word Baal, owner. But we know who truly runs the family. It's the woman. And she can do with her man and with her family whatever she wants. Dr. Lightman, can we say that the desire of women is what rules over humanity? Dr. Lightman, yes. And this comes from the fact that she gives birth to us and educates us, takes care of us. I see even in my wife a part of my mother. There's no choice there. This is how I relate to her. And where does it come from? It's from the fact that the world is organized in this way. There is a lot to do here in psychology, right? In terms of psychology. Clearly, but it's unclear to me why this was concealed for so many years. Did we have to go through such a long period? Dr. Lightman, it's those evil men that didn't want to. Okay, women feel anger with respect to that, but why did nature do it over thousands of years? Dr. Lightman, otherwise you can't come to the truth. All these forces were concealed, they're now being revealed, and now we see the truth in them. Oh, and where is it leading humanity? Where should it promote us? Dr. Lightman, to a state where ultimately we connect together as partners in every way, and it won't matter if it's a woman or a man. It will be one human being, like it's written in the Torah. First of all, Adam, human being. Later, he divided into two. Owen, so this unity, what is the condition for it to exist? Dr. Lightman, love, equality. Owen, will this relate only to how couples work together, or Dr. Lightman? No, all of us. We will feel that you don't have billions of people here, but just one human being, one person, where men and women are all connected together into one essence. It's difficult for us to describe, but this is what we actually have. And evolution is returning to its roots. And so in that state of complete complementation, what power rules? Dr. Lightman, connection. Tal, why is the empowerment of the female force, why does it bring us to love, Stoll? Dr. Lightman, because the woman takes care of connection, peace, fellowship, love. Just whereas the man is like a little child, he just creates chaos, a storm. And so how should we summarize, Dr. Lightman? Dr. Lightman, let women rule and it'll be good. And interesting. Thank you, Tal. Thank you all for being with us. New life, living to live well. All the best. Goodbye.